Hello, welcome back to Realms of Forgotten Worlds video tutorials. I'm your host Albert Taylor, and as you can see, we're doing things a little bit different today. We're using the camera, which my wife insisted on using because we did invest in one and I hadn't wanted to use it, but today we're going to be using the camera for obvious reasons. Okay, so I'd like to start by adding that this video is brought to you by Realms of Forgotten Worlds, a book that we just got through publishing just back in July. And if you watched the last videos, you know what it's about. Multi-option sci-fi. Mostly what we're promoting here. It's more multi-option sci-fi writers. Okay, but any writer can get in on this fun. Okay, since this video is about what to expect before writing. Okay, the preparations before. Because most people think it's just simply get in, write something, and just go from there. But there is just a bit more to consider before getting into the heavy part of your book. So writing the first notes, great, but there is some preparations before writing your book. That's what we're going to get into today in this video. Alright, so as always, this video, we had the email, so any comments, ideas, anything you have there, you can send there to the email. Also Facebook, there we can add some of your likes if you like the page that I made. I'm not very experienced in Facebook, so please go light on the comments about Facebook. I got about a week and a half experience. Alright, I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but if you could like the page, that would be great. Raising my self-esteem. Alright, so this is our video number 4. Alright, very proud of that because I've never done videos before. And probably you already seen that. I'm getting a little better though. Slides are getting a little more fluid. I got some transitions. And it's getting better. Alright, so this is our video number 4. And we're going to see our video before you begin to write tutorial. Alright, so very interesting here. Hope you'll see. Alright, so we have some things to consider before actually getting into our writing. The first point we're going to see here is your state of mind. Alright, this is a very, very good topic because when you're writing, you're in a state of mind. I like to call it Zen. I'm not really sure if that's exactly what it's called. I'm not sure if I'm blowing that topic up. Alright, but it's a really special state of mind. So you have to be in this Zen state of mind, and you're basically going over your subconscious, things your subconscious have captured in dreams, maybe, as in this case, in this book. Since it is sci-fi, this isn't non-fiction, which is a whole lot straightforward. Science fiction, you have to be imagining. The best science fiction comes when you're actually in the story. All right, you can actually picture yourself there and doing this stuff. Alright, that's really important, your state of mind. You have to be really, really focused on what you're writing, or it's just going to come out straight bad. Alright, so our state of mind is our first topic and most important, I think, because we have a few things to consider, like you see here in this chart. Very self-explanatory, isn't it? Alright, so a good writing experience. A person who basically learns to forgive and forget, like in my case. So you'll be surprised all the things that come to mind while you're writing. You can be really, really into your story, then all of a sudden this memory from 10, 15, 20 years ago when you shot your brother in the behind with a BB gun, like in my case, and it suddenly comes to mind and you feel bad. It's like, wow. In that case, you have to just kind of like forgive yourself. So I'm pretty sure my brother doesn't really remember that, hopefully. Alright, but that's a good example. Things you may have done, you may have to forgive yourself. Goes along with forgetting. Just kind of goes out to a second plane. Doesn't interrupt your reading or writing experience, most importantly. But if you don't, then we holding grudges or feeling guilty about something, that will definitely get into your writing process, especially if you're introverted like me. Alright, so that does interfere, definitely. I know from experience, trust me. Okay, all right, so once we get that out of the way, then we can focus on organization. All right, so in past videos, remember I always repeated organize, organize again, then reorganize after that. All right, so like on the screen here, you can see good organization, you have an efficient and precise experience, writing experience. All right, bad organization, you have more time consuming and tiring writing experience, obviously, right? All right, that's kind of obvious, I think. So obvious that some people just don't take into account. All right, and that's basically what I did, and I found out right off the bat, writing a multi-option, you have to organize. You have to do it again and again and again, or things go really, really bad. Okay, all right, so reasons for writing. We do have to take this into account, even though it may seem not that so important, because we do have some really good reasons for ourselves. Actually, really convinced. Why are we writing? All right, like we talked about the last time, there's people writing for money. All right, and that's fine and dandy. I guess there are people like that. I'm not one of them. The writing for fame, unfortunately, most people become famous after they die. So that was an objective of mine. Maybe yours. That's fine, I guess. All right, but we're going to be focusing on this right side here, passion and dreams. All right, because sci-fi, well, my area here is dreams. All right, so you have to be passionate about sci-fi or nothing's going to make sense. Sci-fi would be a total disaster for you if you're not really into it, if it's not your dream or your passion. So we're going to be focusing on the right side. I don't know if we could really focus on the left side because that's kind of, I don't want to be judgmental here, but it's kind of self-centered, right? Maybe, I don't know. But we're going to be focusing on this side, all right? And because of this, because if you're passionate about your work, you're more likely to continue through hardships. And if it's a long book, there will most likely be hardships. Things will get hard. Money might run out. Okay, and people kind of get desperate when you're going to finish your project. All right, things like that. Things can get kind of hard. We can get into that a little bit more in another video. That is a thorough subject there. All right, so if you're doing things for money and fame, it's more than likely you're going to stop in the project. Or you get distracted, see things that make you more money, say, well, I'll just put this on hold. I'm not sure if that works for science fiction. I seriously doubt it. Okay, and one of my inspiration here, one persons of inspiration, Steve Jobs. Okay, well, very intelligent person, first of all. Okay, and I really like his quotes a lot. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Okay, very true. Okay, unless you have a really good motivation behind you to make you keep working if you don't love what you're doing. Okay, well, it's possible too in some countries. All right, you just keep working, you don't really like it, but well, you're excelling in what you do. Okay, but if you love what you do, okay, like me, you just keep working past midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 in the morning. You kind of have to stop yourself because you want to keep going. All right, so that's when you love what you do. It's really nice once you finally found it, because after all these years, I thought I'd never find what I wanted to do. Actually, kind of wanted to be a technical scuba diver, but I don't think that's going to be in my lifetime now. But let's see, another thing we have to consider here, equipment and skills. All right, very, very important to consider before doing a writing project. I have to think of it as a project because writing in some people's minds is just getting a notebook and paper, paper and pen and pencil, whatever. And that's not the case, especially in the sense of science fiction. You have to have a lot of notes. All right. And if you're doing an EPUB or interactive PDF after the project, you're going to need a computer. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on that side, the computer. So I think maybe 99.9% of the people watching this have a computer, or at least a cell phone. But okay, if you're going to be writing, more than likely you're not going to be writing on a cell phone. So we're going to be focusing on computer people here. All right. So we always plan ahead. And this is true. Before the writing project, you want to plan ahead because there's going to be many difficulties. All right. All right. So stuff gets broken. Computer. Well, I've gone through so many power supplies. Processor broke. Had to change the motherboard. Thankfully, my memory's okay. Haven't had to change that yet. I lost keyboard. The space stopped working. A mouse too. Well, gaming mouse. That was kind of painful, but we got through it, and mostly because we kind of sort of not really planned ahead, but I think in this case we just got lucky. All right, I just happened to have some extra abilities to make money here, and we got through the problem. One tragic story I'll share really quick. I think we're running. Yeah, we're almost out of time. And lost a 4 terabyte hard drive. That was a tragedy here in this project. And you may not think I would really need a 4 terabyte hard drive, but I'm working on the 3D project in Unity 3D. And each backup is about 20 gigabytes. So I heavily relied on that hard drive. So that was a tragic loss. You can just imagine. Okay, we gotta take into account we are going to be making backups too. If you're making a digital project, I recommend making backups every day. And then maybe a backup of the backup as well. Okay, and some may think that's common sense, but because you think it's common sense, you may forget it. All right, that's something you don't want to forget, making backups. Especially if you're just got through writing a chapter, really inspired, a special masterpiece type, and you lose it. Okay, you can just imagine. All right, so storage, digital projects. All right, kind of self-explanatory there, right? Stuff we should be considering before anyway. All right, let's talk about your skills. All right, could you just imagine talking about motherboards and processors and stuff? You can imagine I have a computer repair experience. That's true. That actually got me out of many binds. Computer going down. You can just imagine you're in the middle of a project. You have no computer skills. I guess you have very little money for some people. I guess most people who do this may encounter themselves in that situation. Okay, so you don't have the same buying ability as you had before. You just imagine hiring a computer technician to come clean your motherboard and your hard drive and your memory and all that. Okay, so that's not very practical. You're gonna need some computer repair skills. That's one good thing to consider before writing your writing project. Okay, and sometime after you're gonna have to know graphic design if you want to put pictures in your book. So believe me, if you want to hire somebody to do that, it's going to be expensive. And it just so happens right after your writing project, you're not going to have a lot of money. Well, maybe you might, but most people won't. Okay, so that won't be an option. So if you know graphic design, that's a really handy tool to have. All right, so we're going to talk about what we kind of touched on before, finances and your job. All right, so this is actually a very important question. You would take into account your job, because we're going to decide if we're going to be a full-time writer or a part-time writer. All right, you may find out if you try it, it's not so easy being a part-time writer, especially if you get inspired at 2 in the morning. Okay, and you have to drive to work the next day at 7 in the morning to get there by 9, for example. Okay, so it's going to be really hard. You're going to be left deciding on what you really want to do. If you want to keep the job or keep writing, it may come to that. In this case, such a big project, I don't think I would have been able to do if I was still working. So I had to drop the job. as something you should plan on, and maybe 1 or 2 years before your project there. All right, or to get a small business or something. But if you're going to be dedicating yourself to writing, you're going to need the financial support. All right, and one thing before saying that, that's no problem. If you got somebody who's going to finance your project, they're probably going to be a little desperate after the first year and you haven't finished. Take that into mind. Okay. Okay. So we see the most expensive cities in the world. I got this statistic just a while ago. All right. So if you live in some of these cities, you probably want to keep your job. All right. If you don't, well, you probably know the situation of your city, if you can or you can't. You live in a small town and you don't spend too much, you could probably take a year off to write a book if you manage your expenses right. All right. How about the countries? All right. So probably I've been seeing on the statistics, most of you have been watching from the USA. Okay. Well, some from Canada too. But all right. The cost of living may or may not be very high where you live. But that's something to take into account too, some information you might be able to use. All right, so the bills, and that's what we kind of touched on. You may want to learn to manage your money really, really well if you're going to do this full time. Kind of focusing on the full time writer here because, like me, this project was from when I was 12 years old, so I was really, really interested in getting it done. So I just took the drastic route, quit the job, and started writing. And I won't get into exactly how much time has gone past, but it's been about 3 years. So you can imagine that's been a difficult road. And very proud to say that I finished the book. All right. Okay, so you're going to have to take into account the bills. You may want to cut expenses before. Talked in the first video about cutting cable. Very good idea. All right, cutting the cable, that's an unnecessary expense. If you can convince your family, good luck. All right, so full-time writer, part-time writer. If you made the decision by now, then all right, good for you. Okay, decision-making factors. All right, you have to give it a trial run, I guess you could say. All right, just see how it goes one night or one morning. If you're a morning person, I've been reading a lot of things about people who write in the morning who are really successful. But there are really famous authors too who wrote at night. I'm one of those. I get my creativity about 10, 11 at night and just go from there. I've tried in the morning, it just doesn't work for me. Despite all the biological aspects and all the studies they've done. At 9 in the morning, I just can't get things together. I could take some really fantastic notes, but writing, it just doesn't happen until at night. But that's something you have to test out for yourself, see when it works for you. It's taken into account really briefly, writer's block. That could be a much longer topic, right? It's a real phenomenon. It can affect you. Have to take into account if you're planning on a specific time to write. So just 1 year and that's it. If you get writer's block for 2 months, just imagine. All right, let's talk about family real quick. All right, family is part of your project. Don't take family out of your project. Believe me, it's a very, very, very bad idea. Family has to be part of your project. And I think I talked about this in video 1. It is very important. It should be topic 1, perhaps. But here we're seeing it anyway. Don't take family out of their project. The family is in your project. Okay, so you have family participation. You have a good writing experience. You take family out of your writing, and you have a bad writing experience. Okay? Okay, well, really briefly, let's talk about that. Just imagine that you're doing this, and it's lasted for about a year. Your family's going to get really, really aggravated with you if all you're doing is writing and they just think that you're doing it for yourself and you just don't want to be with them. Basically, it may sound ridiculous for some, but that's true. That's actually how it goes. All right, so you have to do these things to keep things in balance. Designate writing time and family time. It's a must. If you're a part-time writer, full-time writer, it doesn't matter. It has to be this way. Okay? And, well, kind of here in the bottom here, you see handling criticism. Okay? It's kind of your shield, really. If your in-laws ask, what is your spouse doing? You say, he's writing. You say, well, if they don't really like your project, they're going to say, he's wasting time in the bedroom. Or he's just going to the office and doing something there. Okay, they're not really going to shield you from the criticism. Right? You need family in your project. Okay? And on the side for money, if you've been in the project for 1 year, money is going to, well, if you're doing this full time, your money levels are going to go down. Expenses are going to go down. Kids aren't going to get their new shoes anymore, their new school clothes, and they're going to look at you. All right? All right? And your downtime, you need 1 day at least to rest. All right? Things don't go very well if you want to work 7 days a week. Believe me, I did it and it didn't work. All right? So, taking that into account, you don't want to sacrifice family time. Like in the picture, you want to take them to some place where you don't spend too much money. Logical, right? So take them to the park, let them run around a few hours, and mission complete. If you want to take a notebook or something, I know I feel really weird if I take a video recorder or something to record ideas. Let's take a little notebook and write down your ideas. All right, let's take into account WORKSPACE. This should actually be a separate video, but we're going to touch on this really fast. Okay, WORKSPACE. Very, 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 very important, your workspace. Has to be a harmonious space, has to be for you. Has to be kind of sacred, if you could say. Has to be a very special place where you can work, obviously, in peace and quiet. All right. So taking that into account, we have to consider these 2 points here, working at home or working away from home, which may be easier for some than others. It's very, very expensive working away from home, even if you don't pay rent. Let's take that into account. You have to separate electric bills, unless, of course, you're taking electricity from your house. But if you're in a separate building, you have to electric bills. We can have furniture too. Let's take that into account too. So you have to have a desk and obviously computer equipment. Has to be really secure. All right, so when you're not there, people won't break in, and that's when the backups come into play. If you have a USB drive in your pocket, it won't be that bad. It would have hurt, but it won't be that bad if you lose 1 year's work. Okay, so that's the question. Work at home, work in an office, or away from home. All right, maybe more complicated than you think. Okay, well, before I get into this slide here, and from personal experience, working at home was a very, very, very bad idea. Okay, simply because it's really hard to understand. If the culture isn't really tuned into that aspect, people working at home, you're going to have a very hard time. It's going to influence you. No matter how insensitive you are, criticism will get you. All right, so here it's looked at as you're not working. Don't leave the house, you're not working. All right, so that may apply to you, may not. If it doesn't, then that's a good thing. Actually, you save a lot of money working at home. Working in an office, more costs. All right, so let's go to the second topic on the respect for your workspace. All right, so sooner or later your family's going to get in your office or in your little room you have designated for work. All right, it's inevitable. Okay, unless you have a really, really good location with a really tight locked door. If not, then you have to just kind of train your family, respect your workspace, because if you don't, it's going to be a disaster. Trust me, it can be a disaster. So you have to kind of like keep your sacred site sacred. All right, just peace and harmony. If you're going to get into that Zen state of mind, it's better not to step on toys if you want to walk around in socks. Okay, if you don't want your papers all scattered around and having, well, you get the idea, right? All right, the last topic, before I go too far into the time on this video. All right, music. Very, 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 very important. the music you listen to while you're writing. You may have already learned this. If you haven't, then you may want to start collecting music without lyrics. All right, very important. Lyrics interfere a whole lot with your thinking, your critical thinking. And well, imagine this: you're trying to tap into your subconscious to get the ideas and to get them on paper. And sometimes that special moment only lasts maybe 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes if you're talented. But if you're not, you got to write everything down really, really fast. So the state of mind is really, really brief. If you have music or maybe mixed, some without lyrics and suddenly with lyrics, it'll interfere with your train of thought. Or like I say, your Zen state of mind. All right, so better to avoid music without lyrics. And if you want some recommendations, I actually got a few. I wrote down these three here. Well, actually the Sun Lounger collection is a collection of a lot of songs. Well, not songs, songs. But awesome. These really help you. Actually in the background, if you can hear it, it's just a wonderful way to concentrate and relax, and it'll help you out a lot. And I have more recommendations too if you want to leave a comment below if a special, I don't know, theta waves, beta waves, alpha waves, how they affect your mind. Okay, we can get into that later on. But in the meantime, I hope you really like this video. And remember, as always, leave your comments below. If you have any questions, ideas, remember I'm still working on book 2, so any ideas would be very, very welcome. Thanks a lot for listening.